Hi guys, so welcome back to this session on costing, and today I'll be discussing the sum on ABC costing, which is activity based costing. So this sum is a little comprehensive, and I think if you understand this one, you can kind of solve every uh, numerical that is there on ABC costing. Okay, so let's get started. Um, so here I hope everyone has read the case and they know what are the production overheads and what is there. Okay, so I'll just quickly get started. So firstly, let's do the traditional costing. So, traditional costing has direct material, direct labor, and production overhead. So over here, let's see, if you read this part, you can see that direct labor costs 6 per hour and production overhead are absorbed on machine hour basis, and the rate for the period is 28 per machine hour. So first thing that they have told us is that direct labor is 6 per hour. Okay, so 6 per hour, and they have told us that the labor hours are 5, 1.5, and 1. So this can help us quickly figure out the total per unit labor cost. So 6 per hour into 0.5 into 1.5 and 1. So this will give us this one 3. So it's 0.5 into 6, 0.5 into 1.5 into 6, and then 1 into 6. Okay, this part is easy. Second thing is material cost. So material cost they have given us in rupees. So uh, if you see over here, it's given in rupees per unit. So directly we can take this per unit cost. So 20, 12, and 25. So this one also we have done 20, 12, and 25. Now the kind of tricky part is this production overhead and 20s this production overhead part, but still in traditional costing it's not that complicated. So they've given us the machine hour rate, so rate for the period. So whatever the production overhead is coming, they have said that we are absorbing that cost on the basis of machine hour rate at 28 per machine hour, and they've given us per unit uh, machine hour. So 1.5 machine hours per unit of P, 1 unit of machine hour per unit of Q, and so on. So we'll directly multiply 28 into 1.5, 28 into 1, 28 into 3. Okay, so that's how you'll get the entire figure of 42, 28, 84, and if you add these up, you'll get these amounts. So I hope this part is really simple, and you shouldn't be facing too much problem using this part, and you can see the answer is also telling. Okay, so next part is, so this one was the original like conventional absorption costing method. Now let's come to the ABC costing, which is the main part of this question. So before we go into the ABC part, we need to kind of have a few notes so that we can calculate these things. So firstly, if you notice in this question compared to earlier questions, that we don't have the total production overhead given to us. Okay, so to calculate the total production overhead, what we need to do is, in earlier questions, if you remember how this 28 per unit machine hour is calculated, so we would have a total machine, so we would have a total production overhead, and from that we had the total hours, total machine hours. And if you divide, so let's say this was whatever, let's say I'll put it over here. So let's say this was 1 lakh, and then machine hours was 5,000. So that's how we used to get the machine hour rate. So rate per machine hour. Okay, so that's how we used to divide the production overhead divided by the number of machine hours, and we used to get this rate 20. Now in this case, what's happening is we have been given the rate of 28. So 28 is given to us, and total machine hours we have to calculate. So we have been given the like machine hours per unit. So over here, if you see, the machine hours per unit is given and the number of units are given. So we can easily find out the total machine hours. So once we figure out the total machine hours over here, we can then back calculate this one. So let's say the total machine hour comes to 8,000. Let's say we'll calculate this. So if it comes to machine 8,000, we'll just do 28 into 8,000. Sorry, 28 into 8,000, and then we'll get the total production overhead. So that's the entire logic behind this question. So the main part of this question that was missing was the total production overhead was not given. We had just been given the rate. Okay, so now let's quickly calculate the total production overhead. So firstly, what we need to calculate, we already have this one, we have to calculate the total machine hours. So to calculate the machine hours, what we'll do, we'll just use the machine hour per unit and then multiply it with the volume in units. So it will give you the per unit rate. So let me just copy this part and take it over here. So we sorry, this is the volume. So the volume is given to us here, and I'll paste it over here. And then we have machine hour rates. So machine hour rate is also given over here. So you can see that if we multiply this, you'll get this total machine hours. And now we have been given 28 as the absorption rate. And so this is the total amount of production overhead. So I hope the first note is clear. Now, what else do we know, that instead of breaking up the total cost into physical units, they have said that 35% or 20%, 15%, 30%. They've given us a percentage breakdown of the total costs of the different components of the production overhead. So we can just calculate. This is also very simple. So you can calculate percentage of the total production overhead and you'll get the cost for each of these things. So again, so it's simple, 35% of this 65, say 6,54,500. So this will come to these amounts, and you can see again the total is coming to 6,54,500. Okay, I hope this part is also very simple. Okay, now what we have to do is, in the third note, is that we have to allocate this production overhead. So this production overhead is regarding the entire all three products. Now we have to allocate the products, like this entire setup cost we have to allocate between P, Q and R. Okay, and you have to determine the cost drivers for this allocation purpose. So for setup, it's really simple because they have given us the number of setups. So you can directly use the formula of like 75 divided by 670. So that'll give you a percentage. So let's do that quickly. So equal to cost of setup is the total cost. Now I'll divide this by the total number of setups, and I'll use F4 to kind of fix this amount. So if I put F4, this gets fixed referencing, and now I'll multiply it with the. So in fact, I should fix reference this one as well, because these are not changing. So that's why I'm fixed referencing them. And now the only thing that I need to change is this number of setups. Okay. So actually this won't really work over here because I'm dragging it to the right and then it will not work. But anyways, I hope you get the point. So I'll just copy this part. So just hold on a minute. Like I'll just edit the formula. So in the second part, what we have to do is we have to use this 115, and in the third part we have to use product R 480, right? So in the same manner, you can see that the total this total cost of all these three is equal to 229075. Okay, and this is allocated. Now the cost related to machinery. So this one is a little not so obvious, that how to calculate the cost driver. So what you have to check the cost drivers that are given to us, and you have to find out which one is the most appropriate one. So we have number of setups. So machine cost, number of setups does not really make sense. Number of movements of material does not really make sense. Number of inspection does not make sense. So labor hours, machine hours. So we have machine hours given. So I believe that machine hours is the best option that we have been given. But however, here the machine hours is given in per unit, and we are calculating it for the entire, and the volume is different. So that's why what we need to do over here is to calculate calculate this, like use the cost driver of total machine hours. So if you remember, in note number 1 we had calculated the total machine hours over here. So we can use this one. So again, using the formula over here again, so total cost related to machinery divided by my cost for total number of machine hours, this one, and then multiply it with 1125, right? And so on. So I'll just quickly do these things so that, so you can also try this on your own in the meantime, so that you get a grasp of like how to calculate and use the Excel sheet, because maybe you might have to do this Excel sheet calculation during the test or something, right? So now you can see again the total is matching with 130,900, and this was 130,900. Again, similarly, material handling, it would be based on the movement of material. So the more you move the material, the more handling it's required. So that's why movement of material will be for material handling, and inspection cost will be based on the number of inspections. So I'll quickly do these things as well. So in the interest of time, I'll just, okay, so I filled up the entire details, and so I hope this part is clear. So this was the most calculation intensive part, and now that this is done, rest is simple. So we have already done the production part, like traditional costing part. Now this direct material, direct labor is same for the ABC costing as well. So we can directly find this out. Now for the remaining part, so what the question has asked us that the cost per unit of each product using ABC principles. So this cost that we had calculated in note number 3, this was for product P as a whole. So all the units of product P. So to calculate per unit of product P, we have to divide it by the number of units. So like let's put it over here, number of units, or basically volume. So we know this one is 750, I think 750, 1250 and 7,000. So 750, 1250 and 7,000. Okay, so basically this cost will be allocated, each cost will be allocated on the basis of 750 and these units. Okay, so that's what I've done. It's basically E52. So it's like this one divided by 750, this one divided by 1250, this one divided by 7,000, and so on. And if you calculate all these costs and then calculate the total cost, you'll get like you calculate the total cost over here. So 23 rupees is the direct cost, and then these are the production overhead. So 94 point something. Okay, so you can see there's a significant amount of difference between the production overhead in the, so when you're comparing the traditional costing and ABC costing, the direct labor and direct material are the same. That does not have any impact. But here you can see it's the production overhead is only 42, and over here the production overhead is 94.95. So that creates a difference as a whole. Okay, so you can go through the figures and kind of find out why there is any changes. So in the normal case, everything is being allocated on the basis of the machine hours. Okay, so if you calculate the percentage of machine hours, so let's say equal to this one divided by F4. So if you calculate this rate, you'll see that it's very heavily skewed towards like 90% of my costs are being allocated on product R. Whereas if you see the uh, calculation here, you'll see that it's being based on the, it's not that skewed. So that's why, so you can figure that out on your own, why uh, the traditional costing and ABC costing is creating a difference. So main difference is here. So this one, so sorry. So this part and this total is the reason for the difference, right? And you can check the individual component to kind of find out. Okay, so I'll not keep you guys so long. Thank you for watching, and I hope every doubt is cleared. If you still have doubts, you can always contact me. Okay, thank you.